Welcome to Unlocking Our Code podcast. Today, we're diving into the power of gratitude, not just as a feel-good practice, but as a transformative code for unlocking new levels of peace, abundance, and personal growth. Whether you're in a season of joy or struggle, gratitude has the power to shift your perspective and ignite real change in your life. And the title of this episode is Finding Light in the Power of Gratitude. And tonight I'm here with Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Excited.
I know. Yeah, this week, so we felt that this episode and talking about gratitude was perfect because Thanksgiving is only 2 days away.
Yes.
And it's my favorite. It's my favorite holiday.
Mine too.
I love November. It's like my favorite month. Thanksgiving is my absolute favorite holiday, and obviously the food, right?
It's the best part.
I know. Are you cooking?
Yeah, I love Thanksgiving dinner. I've been cooking like a turkey for the past 4 years or so. Like I did the whole dinner myself last year.
Like the whole turkey?
The whole thing last year.
Oh my God.
But this year I gave myself a break and I'm only doing the ham and the stuffing. I was like, Mom, you do the turkey. I just couldn't. November for me was like a very heavy month.
Yeah?
Yeah, very, very. I went through some intense like stuff this month and I just felt like I can't pile on more things. Mm-hmm. I'm just coming out of this wave and I was like, I'll do something simple.
Yeah, and that's good that you can give yourself that break, right? Like that you're not giving yourself that expectation, like setting that expectation for yourself that you have to like get these things done because it's a lot. I mean, I'm thankful that I don't have to cook like that. Excuse me, I don't have to cook like that for Thanksgiving. Like, again, grateful. I'm grateful for that. Nando's always been the one that deep fries turkey, and he's kind of taken that on himself, like for the last I don't know how many years, and then and so I'm really just kind of like. What do I do? Do I just mix the mash and I just mix stuff? And I'm really not doing anything. I enjoy it all. I think it really does come down to feeling that, just being thankful that we have what we have, what's in front of us, whether it's a big feast or just a meal, whether you're with a family of 100 people in your household or a family of 2, just being extremely thankful for that. And Thanksgiving's always, I feel like it's going to be just my holiday. Definitely over Christmas, over everything else. But for sure. And again, this episode, the power of gratitude. I don't think I've ever realized how important it was until I could say probably last year that I really embraced it and understood, and I kind of had like that self-awareness of where I was lacking and how I was lacking gratitude, and it's really given me a different perspective on everything.
Yeah, I feel that before this word of gratitude even comes up, like in our vocabulary, that we get used to using it, more often than we did before. I feel like we don't really know the power of gratitude unless we're tapped into the actual energy, because that's how I felt myself too. Like before I even began tapping into this powerful energy, it wasn't something that, of course you give thanks for things and stuff, but I didn't dive deeper than that, other than, I'll give thanks for my blessings or stuff like that. But I never actually thought that it had such a powerful force behind it.
Like it was very superficial before.
Yeah. And now I see the power. I felt it in my own self. I seen the power it has when you're going through a transformational journey, that it's much more than that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. I and just like to start off, I think, um, just finding out, like really realizing that it's more than just like, oh, I'm thankful for, um, I'm thankful for this meal today. And like, oh, I'm thankful for, oh, yeah, I am thankful for family. Like that's like very, it's good to feel that, but I think that at least for me, it felt very superficial still. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like now when I say these things that I'm thankful for these things, I feel it like in my gut. Like I feel the gratefulness, like the joy. It almost feels like every time because I do it every day, but every time I'm saying it, I feel like it's such a huge, overwhelming feeling that it almost feels like sometimes I want to cry when I'm being thankful for these things. And it's simple things. It's all the little things that I took for granted before, you know? And I read something which I thought was super awesome. It said, it didn't have like an author or nothing, but it said, imagine a life without gratitude. No love would ever be strong enough. No possessions good enough. No house big enough. No salary large enough. And no friendship special enough.
Wow. That'd be sad.
Terrible, huh?
Yeah.
Like if you were never grateful, it's just never enough. Like nothing would ever be enough, you know? It's just that feeling of like always lacking, that feeling of I'm always lacking. It's never enough. I never make enough money. I don't have enough friends. I never make it, my my house could be bigger. My house should be bigger. My car should be better. Why don't I have this? Like if you're always in that mental state, you are lacking gratitude in your life.
Yeah, I feel it's even like I wrote a note of what gratitude is for me, right? And gratitude is a frequency, a mindset, a state of being, and most important, a choice,
Yes.
right? So it's like if you're not aware that you have that choice, that you could tap into this very powerful energy, how would life look?
Yeah.
Right? So I feel that it's why I feel like when we brought up this topic, I felt like it's really important that we expand on it. Like, what is it? How does it play in our lives? How has it transformed us, in our journey, and how it plays when you're not tapped in and you are tapped in into that.
Yeah.
Like frequency, I feel that I see gratitude from a frequency level, right? We could see it from different perceptions, but me, I'm tapped into it as a frequency, as an energy, for example, right? And I brought a paper of the Hawkins scale. So if you haven't came across this before, we invite you to look it up on Google. The Hawkins scale is like a map of the consciousness, the frequency levels, right? And it goes the lowest frequency on this scale is shame, which is 20 hertz, right? The highest frequency is enlightenment, which is between 700 to 1,000 hertz in energy and frequency, right? Gratitude lands between love and joy. It is said that gratitude is around 540 hertz. So meaning the energy level that it emits into your body when you're tapped in to that energy. So imagine if you're someone that has never tapped into gratitude and that you been used to living in guilt, shame, fear, grief. Those are the lowest frequencies of the emotional scale, of the consciousness scale, right? Yep. Imagine what you are manifesting from that frequency, from that level, from a 20 level of frequency compared to a 540 level of frequency that is gratitude. Your life is totally different.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you're not tapped into this energy, as opposed to when you are connected to this energy.
Yeah. This is so cool. I loved seeing this graph. Like, what an eye opener. And we could probably post it on Instagram so people can see
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
We'll post it on there. You can see that the lowest frequency, which is shame and guilt, it's attached to the lower ego, to
Yep.
your ego, to the lower self, right? So from there, just think as an example, someone that is living in that frequency of 20, shame, guilt, and fear, you could see in the top scale that is hell.
Yes, I see that.
Your own hell.
Yep.
You're in hell from within, right?
Yep.
And one of the ways you can start climbing up on this scale of frequency to vibrate at a higher frequency is to connect to higher frequencies. One of them is gratitude.
Yeah.
You could use love. You could use many other things, but in this case, we're using gratitude, right?
Yep.
If the person is someone that is struggling at this time and they don't know how to get out of this like hell, inner hell that they're in, one of the advices I would give is to just begin tapping into gratitude.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, what has it done in our own journey? What has it done, for example, in your journey? Going from a lower frequency state to tapping into and connecting to gratitude. What has it done for you?
Well, you know, just seeing this and seeing that, you know, when you know, seeing the shame at the way bottom of this frequency scale and seeing guilt and apathy and grief and fear all on the bottom of the scale, right? Like those are like, that's the lowest frequency you can be in. Mm-hmm. That is everything I felt last year. Everything. I was like entwined in those feelings. There's nothing, I was feeling nothing else but that, all of that. Mm-hmm. And I just remember my therapist kept telling me over and over, you are just living in shame and guilt, and you need to get out of that. And I was like, how? There's nothing to fix it. Like there's no way to get out of it, right? Mm-hmm. I was constantly feeling sorry for myself because I would compare my life to others. I would compare where I was at that point, and I would compare it to where I was before and what other people were doing. And we know what they say: comparison is a thief of joy. It'll rip the joy right out of you if you're constantly comparing your life to others, right? I remember feeling sorry for myself because I was like in this victim mentality, which made it really hard for me to be 100, like be happy for other people's success. Because I kept saying like, I feel sorry for myself that I wasn't like, why was I in this such deep, dark moments? Why am I not able to like achieve these things? Why am I not able to, you know, I just couldn't get out of that mentality. I was finding no satisfaction, no content with the things that I was doing. Even like if I reached a certain achievement, it was just like not good enough. Like I would never give myself any credit for any of it, right? And then definitely focusing on everything that I was lacking, like everything that I didn't have. I just, you know, quit my job, completely different like shift in my life. And then I was so focused on the things that I was no longer had or was no longer going to have. And I was just, you know, like spinning out of control, like digging myself deeper in this hole. And I felt so guilty for making that choice, for making that decision, which I felt at the time was extremely selfish. Like, how could I be that selfish? How could I do this to my family? How could I quit something that we need, like to survive? I need my income, you know? I need to move. How could I have made this decision? Like, so that the shame, the guilt, the fear of what the hell's going to happen next. I lived in that. Oh my God. It was exhausting. And then, learning the power of gratitude was really hard for me at the beginning because it didn't feel real.
Yeah.
It felt fake. Yeah. And, you know, reading about it, practicing, writing every day. I started writing about things that I was grateful for, and And it could be anything. It could have been anything that in that day, right? What I was grateful for in that day. And I started doing it. At first, it felt, again, fake. Like, I'm not really grateful for these things.
Yeah.
Like, right? Because I was so out of sync with it.
Well, look at the difference.
Yeah.
From 20, you were trying to jump from 20 to 500
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And it's not possible.
No.
Yeah.
So I was, all these things were like not, it just felt like it wasn't me. Like I was out of touch with that part of me. And so I had to practice it daily. And I'm so thankful that I didn't quit when it felt fake. And it sucks, and it sucks to actually say that it felt fake, because it's not that I'm not grateful for those things, but I just felt like I was not connecting to that part where I'm really, really, truly grateful for these things. Because I took so many things for granted before. I just didn't see things, that now I see, and I'm like, and it really humbled me to see things, to be able to say, like, I'm where I'm at because of the help that I got from so many people that I was able to reach out to in that time, in that moment, when I was vulnerable enough to share everything that I was going through. And people that reached out to me, that gave me words of courage, that, my therapist, you're a huge part of that. Like I said, conversations that I had with my mom, with my dad, like just certain things that a lot of people that I reached out to me in that time, and helped me get out of that, and really just being thankful for them. For my husband, for him being just supportive and understanding. And even though it was such a hard situation for him to deal with too, he was like, I don't know what to do with this, but I guess I'm just going to sit here and support you, I'm just so grateful for that. And now, and just practicing it every single day, I had to stop focusing on the things that I no longer had. And the things that I no longer felt that were supposed to be a part of me, like they were supposed to be me, and they weren't. Like none of that stuff was me, I'm thankful that those things, that I was able to do so many other things, and that I had these things, but now I'm just like, okay, it's not important to me. So now it's the smallest things. It's the smallest things that I'm so grateful for. And now that I do it, now that I sit there and I write it or I speak it out loud, because I try and say it at least twice a day, where I sit with my own thoughts and I express what I'm thankful for. I'm not kidding you. It comes from inside. It fills me. Like it feels so good to say it out loud. It's such a feel-good feeling that I'm no longer afraid of the things that I don't have. I don't even know what I don't have, honestly. I don't even know what I lack right now, to be honest with you, because I don't give a shit. Yeah. Like I'm so in tune. I'm so looking at the things that I do have, that I don't lack anything right now.
That's good. And that's beautiful to be able to do that. I feel that reminded me of a quote I wrote from Joe Dispenza. And he wrote, where you place your attention is where you place your energy, right? Yeah. So it's like when you place your attention to lack, to fear, to shame, that's where you're placing your energy. Yes. That's where you're creating your reality from. And when we shift and we create and we focus on gratitude, then we begin creating our life from that point. That's your 0 point. The gratitude is your point where you begin creating everything else in your reality. Yeah. So you cannot see what you're lacking, because you're connected to a higher frequency, to a higher power, to abundance, to happiness, to joy. You're not a match to lack thoughts, or even events that are chaotic or challenging, as much as, unless it's a lesson you have to learn at that time or whatever. Yeah. But you're basically tapped into a higher frequency. So from there, you're creating your world. You're creating your heaven on earth. Yeah. Right? And when you're connected to the lower, to the fear, you're creating your hell on earth. Yeah. And it all starts within. Yeah. It is why this frequency is so powerful when we begin, learning about it, connecting to it, writing. For me, it did I mean, I don't think I would be where I'm at if it wasn't for this energy. And even when I tell you that, for example, this month was difficult for me, I went through some really waves of strong, strong emotions and moments and stuff. And the thing that brought me back to my heart was gratitude. Because when I was in the moment of facing the challenges, I couldn't see further than the challenge, right? I was in the lower, connected to the lower frequencies. And when you're connected to those lower frequencies, you can't even think of oh, how, what could I be grateful for, right?
Yeah.
And is what I noticed even in this month of me going into that wave, that if we stay there for too long in the lower frequencies, we suffer tremendously. Well, imagine you're living in hell internally. How could you be happy? How could you be thriving? How could you be connected to happiness or joy? There's just no way. You're suffering. You're really, really suffering because you've chosen to stay in an inner hell.
Yeah.
Right? People think that hell is a place you go and that heaven is a place you go. No. It's a state of being from within.
Yeah.
You become heaven yourself. You become hell yourself. And it all starts within.
Yeah.
So, I learned this month, I even learned even deeper insights on gratitude, how powerful it is the moment that you just have to make a choice. You don't even need to know how.
Yeah.
If you're struggling, if you're having a difficult challenge and you don't see why, and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, like people say, right? When you're in the challenge, just connecting to gratitude and begin being grateful for the little things can be life-changing. Like you said, if you can't start big, because you won't be able to start big in that moment, at least little things, focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I woke up in the morning.
Yep.
I'm grateful that my children are healthy. I'm grateful that I have a meal, like little things that you can begin with that will eventually turn into bigger things. And then boom, you connect to the force, right? And then you can see the change, how you feel internally. That is so different from being connected to lower like states of being.
Yeah. And it's so crazy how like having a business, right? Like a small business. I remember there's moments, there's little waves where fear wants to kick in. That you're like, at least for me, that I'm like, oh my God, this week I only have like so many clients, like, oh my God. And the fear wants to start to take over, like, and these little doubts start coming in, like, do you need to get a job? Are you going to have to get a part-time job? Do you have to, like, what have you done? What are you doing wrong? This is not going to work for you. All these things want to come in, right? And I have to like stop because it's very easy for me, at least, to go down that rabbit hole. And then next thing you know, I'm getting depressed. And next thing you know, I had a week of hell and I'm no longer myself. I'm completely out of like that, that whole energy wave that I've just synced into the wrong, the darkness of it all. And and I start bringing myself back up, like, no, you have these clients. You're very thankful. I'm so thankful for them. Like, thank you for allowing me to do something that I'm so in love with. I start mentioning it again. Thank you for, I'm so thankful for my husband, that he's giving me this space to do what I love. I'm thankful for that my kids are well, that they have food on their table, that we're able to feed them, that they have what they need. Like, I'm thankful for my home. I'm thankful that I'm able to do these things. Everything just I start remembering. I'm like, if my bank account has like, this much funds in it, I'm thankful for those funds, like any single thing that I'm able to have. But I'm not just blurting words out there. I mean, I did start at the beginning, just blurting anything that I felt because I didn't understand how gratitude worked, right? Right now, every single thing that comes out of my mouth that I say I'm thankful for, I feel like I'm so deeply connected to it, so deeply connected. Like, it really comes from every cell in my body. And I say it out loud. I tell God, I tell the universe, my angels, everything. I'm like, thank you guys for for allowing me to be in this place that where I'm feeling, where I could see it, I could hear, I could feel, that I could even feel this much gratitude in my being. And I'm kid you not, like everything just, and then it just all works out. Next thing you know, next week, I'm like, I don't even have time to breathe, you know? I'm like, I have like all these clients are just coming in, and it just, because it's normal as a human being to have those doubts. So our mind is always going to be playing these games on, you know, our mind is, it can be our best friend, it can be our worst friend, you know? But being able to control that, because it's not always perfect, you know, like I said, I have these moments of where it starts to, you know, it starts to go again, and I'm just like, hey, you know, bring yourself back to here, to the present, to where you're at now. Even last night, I felt like I got up in the middle of the night, and, you know, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and your brain just starts working, going, and I'm just like, nope, I'm not even going to worry about that. What I'm worried right now, it's about something that's supposed to happen next year, and that's like 4 or 5 months away from, why am I even going to worry about that? Like, nope, I'm not going to do that. And you're not going to do that. And I've gotten really good at controlling my brain, at saying, like, you're not doing this to me. Like, I'll talk to my brain like if it's another person. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm here. I'm right. Like, I'm here. I'm now. I'm in my bed. I'm so comfortable. Like, you're not doing this to me. And they just go away, you know? And before, TV, I can be up for 3 hours just spiraling. I never had enough sleep. I was always exhausted. Because sure enough, at 3 a.m, I was up, and I was up until like 6 a.m. It never went away. I just had no control of my own thoughts. But that's, again, because you're just in this mindset of like the shame, the guilt, the fear. Fear is huge, you know, and all these things come from just, I want to say it comes from, one of the biggest things is not being grateful for the things that we have right now, not being able to appreciate the things we have, and not knowing how to be like grateful for the present.
Yeah, well, just imagine in a world where living in the future and in the past is so celebrated.
Yeah, that's like everyone right now.
Yeah.
Who doesn't act based on their past, and who's not acting because of what they're afraid of for the future, you know, for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm reacting this way because of what happened yesterday, but I'm reacting this way because of what's going to happen tomorrow and what might happen tomorrow. We're never here, present.
And that's what creates anxiety. That's
And
why there's
terrible.
such a huge spike on anxiety, because we are living in the future.
Yes.
Or we're depressed living in the
past. That's exactly what I was going to say.
But we don't
depression
see the
comes depression comes from living in the past. Anxiety comes from living in the future.
Yeah.
And I am living proof of that.
Yeah. I think we all come to a point where we all experience that, right?
Yep.
And we'll still have moments. I mean, the journey is the journey. We came to be human. We came to feel. We came to ride the waves. Sometimes we're going to be on high waves, and sometimes we're going to be in the low waves. But what we're trying to say is that when you are in that low wave, it's a wave. You're going to get through it. And there is choices. There is other frequencies you can connect to, like gratitude being one of them. And but I definitely feel that gratitude can act as a bridge as well, that shifts us from the lower frequency emotions like fear, shame, or anger to higher frequencies of joy and love. So you have the choice to seeing this frequency as a bridge that can bridge the low emotions to higher emotions, if you allow it, and if you give yourself permission to do that as well.
Yep, definitely. It's a connection when you start to practice gratitude. And again, it might, you know, for some of those that are not so familiar with it, it might feel weird at the beginning. You know, it might feel like this is strange. Because it does. And it feels weird because you haven't been there yet. You're not tapped into that energy yet. But don't, you know, once you start doing that, like I said, you can start by writing things down, journaling, or even if you don't want to journal it, but just write it down and put it in stickies in your mirror, places where you see them all the time, things that you're grateful for every single day, or things that you're grateful for just that day alone. You know, I'm grateful that my coworker brought me a coffee. I'm grateful that, you know, today I was able to that I was able to take a longer lunch. Little things. I'm grateful that, you know, I made it to work on time. I'm grateful that I have a car that brings me to work. I'm grateful for my spouse, my partner, my friend. I'm grateful that my kids were able to get up today and give me a hug. You know, like, it's those little things that we take for granted because we see it as this is stuff that should happen every day. What do you mean? Why should I be grateful for that? But when you really stop to think about it, no, it's not things that should happen every day. No. It's things that you should be thankful that are happening to you.
Because you're blessed to have that.
You're blessed to have that. Exactly.
Not everybody gets to wake up in the morning. Not everyone gets to experience a warm shower, a hot meal. You know what I mean? It's just that we've normalized, we've desensitized from it being blessings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like, also another thing that I really learned was the power of like showing gratitude to others. Like, you know, when someone sends you a message and says, thank you so much for whatever, you know, it warms your heart, you know? So like being able to, if somebody made your day that day, if someone did bring you a coffee, if someone did call and check in on you, if someone did just randomly say like, hey, how you doing today? Like, even that is something to so be thankful for. But being able to say it to them, like making somebody, that feels so good. Saying it to the person or letting it be known, but it's definitely also a warm, like it's almost like a warm hug to the person you're just saying it to. Like that's such a good, it's such a feel good thing. Like I've always told Nando, like I've always been the type of person I rather give than receive. Does that make sense? Yes. That give than receive, right? And sometimes it doesn't even have to be like a gift, but like a note or sending a quick text message to someone telling them like, hey, you know what? Thank you for X, Y, and Z, for, you know, giving me a ride today, for checking in on me, for, you know, taking my kids to school or whatever the case might be. It's just the simplest things, you know. Let that also be a part of your daily practice, you know. Find someone that did something for you, even if it was the smallest things. You never know. And that's also something that it does something to you to be able to say that to someone or do that something for someone. And then for that person that's on the receiving end, it's always a feel-good gesture, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. It's wonderful when we can share that energy, pour onto somebody else from that place of gratitude or from the place of love, because we don't really know how just that one comment can affect someone's day, or if they were going through something, and your kind words and your gratitude towards that person can just shift their day or shift their mood in any way, or help them in any way. I also feel that gratitude is definitely a transformational tool. I feel that gratitude invites us to breaking the habit of being ourselves. And why? Because we're so used to feeling a certain way, right? Like those lower frequencies, like fear, anger, all those lower frequencies. We've normalized that these frequencies are a healthy place to live from and create from, that it's normal, it's fine, all is good. Living from here, it's normal, everybody does it, right? Now, gratitude invites you to see the opposite of that, to unnormalize these things that are making us sick, because in reality, these frequencies, the lower ones, make us sick, right? In our mind, health-wise, and in every shape, way, or form. How many people don't you know, or ourselves, who've been living in this inner hell that began showing symptoms of illness in any shape or way? Of course, when you are tapped into gratitude and you are living from that place, you're no longer a match to illness. You're no longer a match to those things, right? And why I say that it could be a transformational tool as well. It's because aligning to gratitude and getting used to living from this frequency can really shift your entire reality, shift your entire inner world as well. Yes, it's going to feel weird. Like you said, it felt weird at the beginning because it was inviting you to break from your from the habit of being your old self, from breaking from the lower frequencies. What it was telling you is, here I am, and I am inviting you to tap into a whole different version of yourself, a whole different reality, a whole different world for yourself.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, it feels weird because you're not familiar.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm telling you, it felt fake.
Yeah,
it felt fake at the beginning, and but you know, it's I can't see how it can also cause, like what you mentioned, like all these physical reactions to your body, you know. And I just wanted to, I think definitely one of the things that I feel like people should know, and you know, I think practicing daily gratitude is one thing, and saying it is one thing, but like, what do you think was the most helpful for you when it comes to like practicing it? Like, how did you find that practicing? Like, how did you find it the most helpful for you?
for me, the most helpful was, I'm a big writer. I write a lot. So journaling was huge. Even if my mind and I couldn't speak it out loud at that time because I felt uncomfortable at the beginning, I began writing it. I began putting it in paper. At the beginning of my journey, I would meditate for long periods of time. And I would connect to this energy from a meditation place. Also, a lot of self-talk. So for me, it was those three things: meditation, journaling, and doing a lot of self-talk with gratitude, like affirmations and just tapping, just getting used to it, because at the beginning you're not used to that energy. So it's just practice so that you can begin getting used to what this frequency feels like, and it begins to feel like a safe place for you right now. If you are tapped into the lower emotions, those emotions have become your safety blanket for so long, right? So now imagine shifting from that inner safety, even if it's hurting you, even if the emotions don't feel well, and now shifting to gratitude as your new frequency. That could be a shock to your mind,
to your person, like like, how do you know? And I never really thought about the whole self-talk, but that is a thing.
Big. For me, it's huge, huge. I can't even express how big self-talk has been for me. I've done a big portion of my inner healing has been with self-talk.
Yeah, you're just like having this conversation. I'm telling you, I'm having this conversation like it's literally two of us.
Yeah.
And I'm just like talking to that one person that's still living like in fear sometimes. Because I think right now my biggest thing, I don't think there's any guilt or shame anymore that lingers with me. But there's definitely fear, you know, that still lingers. And talking to that piece of me that still wants to come out once in a while, and being able to say like, no, you're not going to control me. I'm not going to react from a place of fear anymore, you know? So definitely journaling was one of the things that I started doing, which I find it hard to journal sometimes, to be honest with you. Sometimes I can go in the flow and just keep going, but sometimes I'm just like, nothing is sticking. So then I don't journal, but I can talk. Oh my God, I can have a conversation with myself. And so journaling has always been one. So even if, like I said, you can write 3 things down that for the day that you can be grateful for, focusing on something that focusing like on a specific moment or a feeling from that day, that something that brought you joy, happiness, comfort, something positive, and just writing it down. I guess, again, reflecting on what went well. If you don't want to write it down, just reflect on that and appreciate those things, definitely letters of gratitude. Again, taking time to send a text message, even if it's just to somebody who did that one special thing for you that one day, and like pouring it out, like you mentioned earlier, not only like onto yourself, but pouring it out to others. Like, it's amazing. Sometimes people need to hear that, that what you did made an impact, and it's just you're pouring that from that place of gratitude and that point of high energy. So those are the things that I really do. And affirmations, I did learn affirmations. Girl, again, affirmations was so weird for me at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was so strange. I'm like, how is this going to shift my mind? Like, how is this going to shift my mindset? I don't understand how that's going to work. But I kid you not, I started, I want to say the year before last, 2 years ago, with my daughters, with words of affirmation. Every single morning when I was taking them to school, I would tell them, we're going to practice affirmations. And then they're like, oh yeah, Mom. One of them was like, we do them in our class. And I'm like, perfect. So I was like, so we're going to do it every morning as we're going to school. We're going to say something that, just say something about yourself, So we started practicing with the girls, but now what I tell them to do is always say something that they're grateful for. And so, and it's fine, they started out, like my daughter started off with like, well, I'm thankful for the dogs. Perfect. I'm thankful for this food today. Okay, great. I'm thankful for my teacher that she found my sweater or something like that. You know what I mean? But I was like, whatever, as long as they start practicing it. And so those are things, and just saying it out loud, just make, so then I feel like what it did to my brain, it really just starts from coming from that place of awkwardness of like this, am I really thankful for this? To like, I am really, really thankful for this. Yeah. Like, where you're feeling it in your being, like it just coming from inside, So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is don't stop or don't quit just because it feels unusual and it feels fake or surface level, you know?
And it's meant to. At the beginning, it's meant to feel that way because it's not the familiar place. And I also feel that if there's people out there who are struggling tremendously at this time, or, they feel caged in, or they feel like there's no way out, that they're just suffering immensely, it's like, begin there, begin with little steps of gratitude. I definitely feel like in my toughest and hardest moments of my journey, gratitude has been the light in the darkness for me. There is like no other way to explain the power of this frequency other than like life-changing and just like a powerful tool to get me through those difficult moments. And even when you stop disconnecting from that energy, you can feel the shift in you that, hey, like I'm missing this frequency in my life, and it can spiral you completely out of control. But definitely if you're feeling disconnected from gratitude and feeling disempowered, a few things that you could try is, like Lou said, like self-talk, journaling, setting an intention, accepting where you are in this moment, just having that compassion and saying, okay, I am here in this moment, and that's okay. Acknowledging the pain without judgment, forgiveness, understanding, validating your feelings, your experience. It's okay to have difficult emotions. It's okay. We're human. We're meant to go through these emotions. And then it's also important to be honest with ourselves, that we could lie to others, but we can never lie to ourselves, right?
Yep. I say it all the time.
So that's really big. Yeah. And I feel like just small steps can really, really help shift the mentality and help people be in a better, higher frequency than the one they are.
Yeah, you know what? Just recently, somebody on Instagram was sharing that they were going through some really dark moments in their life, and she posted something on her story like saying, I'm starting to realize that maybe these dark moments that I'm in right now are showing me something, or something along those lines, right? Like I'm gonna learn something from this. And I told her, you know what? I just messaged her and I said something like, I can't remember exactly what, but I said something along the lines like, one day you're gonna realize, you're gonna be so grateful for those moments. I know right now it's hard for you to see it, but one day you're gonna be so thankful for those dark moments, because that's where the most like learning, the most beautiful lessons you're gonna learn in life. Like, and so being in a place now, I'm 40 years old, where I can talk about so many traumas that have happened to me in the past, right? And for a really long time, I lived in that nothing good has ever happened to me mentality. I had that, yeah, man, I had a pretty fucked up life. Like, I've gone from what people were, people used to say like, oh, like at work events, they'd be like, oh, tell us one great thing about you, or tell us the best thing that's ever happened to you. And I struggled. I struggled to find something interesting about me, because all I seen was the pain, the pain, the pain, the pain. I'm like, what do I do? Talk about all the shit that I've gone through in my life? Because that's pretty interesting about me. You probably look at me and be like, dang, So I stopped seeing it from that point of view already. I stopped saying all these bad things happened to me. I stopped doing that. And that has given me such a new perspective, where I could say like, you know what? I could be in a place where I could say, yep, all that happened to me and I'm all right. Like, I'm thankful because of all of this stuff that happened to me, I am who I am right now. And I'm in such a good place. And I could almost say, it happened to me, and those are lessons that I can be thankful for. Because what do they say? It didn't happen to me, it happened for me.
For me.
And so for me, so I could be here saying it with no pain in my heart right now, with no before I probably would have broken down and said, all this stuff, but now I'm just like, yeah, it did. Not that I don't care about it, but it's just a different perspective, like a way different. Yeah. To be able to say I'm thankful for those dark times, that's, I feel like, good for you, Lou. You've come a long fucking way.
Big.
Yeah.
Big shift. Somebody asked me once, how do you know that you're healing? How do you know that you're connected to gratitude? And I said, when you feel grateful for everything that you've gone through.
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad. When you feel grateful that you experience dark moments, lessons that I'm not saying that the stories didn't happen and that it wasn't difficult.
Yeah,
of course, it was difficult. Yeah. Right? But when you are able to say, yes, it happened to me, but now I feel grateful that I did experience that. Because of that, I am who I am today.
I am who I am today.
Yeah. And without those pieces, I wouldn't be who I am today, right? And that's how you know you're evolving. That's how you know you're changing, because you can find gratitude even in your darkest moments.
Exactly.
And that's not an easy thing to do. So when you're able to accomplish that, yes, be very proud of yourself, because that's a huge shift to make in your life.
Yeah.
Huge. Yep. I mean, huge.
Yeah. I went from being like the victim to being like the survivor. Like, I'm out here. I'm on top. I'm not a victim,
Yeah.
And that's, I think, now people come across and I see them going through these moments and they mention like the darkest moments. I can't believe I'm going through this. This is happening to me. Or they'll say things like, I can't get past that. I can't forgive that. That was done to me. I went through this. It was done to me. It was done to me. It was done to me. And, I can't shift anyone's perspective in a snap of my fingers, right? But all I tell them is, you know what? All I can tell you is I hope that one day you can see how this is a blessing for you. Because now that you've gone through this, now you can be either you can stay on that side of the stick, or you're like on the bad end, or you can come on this side and go from there. As in like, yeah, that happened to me, but look at me now. Like I I've learned from it. I'm a different person from that. Like the things that you've gone through, I probably don't know the things that you've gone through. And so you have that advantage where you've learned, you now come from that place. You're like, yeah, I've been there. That's happened to me. I can now, like as a mom, I can now show my children, now I can tell my kids, now I can teach, and I can help them grow from that place where I'm at. And yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, and it does suck when someone's like in that dark space that they can't see that yet, and I totally understand it. But again, just practicing it every day, and don't give up and don't quit, even if it becomes weird or just you don't see it yet. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. Yes. And just we remind everybody that everyone has a choice.
It's a choice. Exactly.
It's a choice. So you don't need to know how. You don't need to know the details. You just have to make a different choice. I no longer want to live in this inner hell. Yeah. I no longer want to continue to suffer. I want to choose different. The choice is all it takes. Everything else will unfold. The universe will show you the next steps as long as you're open.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Well, that felt nice.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah. That is our episode for this week. Again, for us today, Thanksgiving is in 2 days, but this episode will probably air on Friday. So by the time you guys are listening to this, we hope that you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving, and having a good Black Friday, being safe, and I'm wishing you guys all the happiness that that you guys can receive. Thank you guys again for we're extremely grateful. We keep seeing people listening in, and downloading our episodes, and it just makes us so happy. So continue to share them. Again, it's open for everyone. And thank you guys so much. Again, this is Lourdes, and you can find me at The Plug by Revive. You can also find our Instagram page at Unlocking Our Code podcast. You can find TV at
TV Side Coaching Center.
TV Side Coaching Center. Thank you to our producer, Greg, for everything he does for us. We're extremely thankful and grateful. And hope you guys listen in, give us the feedback, follow us on our page, and let us know what you guys think. We appreciate it.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.